And dubbed did glow that night in Fingal of victories. Canmata and Kathleen sang together, and the three shouters of glory, yelling half viewed their harps. Surly Toohal smiled upon Drear, Darthula, and Roscrana's Bolgaboyo, begirlified the daughter of Cormac. The soul of every elder body rolled into its old soul self. A double month's license, lease on mirth while honeymoon, and a flame went honeysuckling Holyrissia. What boom of bells, what battle of brags on Sandgate, where met the bobby mobbed his bibby mabbing through the rice. Even Tombs left Doss and Dunnage down in Demidoff's tomb, and drew on the dern-tailed clogs that Marty Manning left him and legged in by the ghost town gate, like Pompey up to date. With a sprig of white boy's heather on his late Luke Elcock's heirloom, and some say they seen old Dummy Deef with a leaf of bronze on his cloak so grey, trooping his colour apace to the rear, and as ow Fally Posh with his half-crown jewel, as if he was the Grand Duke Meckle or Pastor de Grasse on the Route de la Paix. It was Jubilee Jew, that all sorts saw, freestouters and public ranks, hafts on glaives. You could hear them swearing threaties on the Simbalaya Mountains man, and giving it out to the old Fatak, and loud-mouthing it after the healy-mealy with an emphasis to bring down the reign of Tower. Never let her ever to mind the grandest by the Haley, seen or heard on the Earthcom spectrum since Cape the Goat. That gaffer ate the Surrender's Bible, hadn't we, heavens, lamps to hide us. Yet every lane had its lively spark, and every spark had its several spirtles, and each Spitfire spirtle had some trick of her trade a tease for Ned, Nook's nettles for Fred, and a peeping mow for Pierre Powell, so that Father Matthews looked totally trebled, but Dano the Dane grim Dune, Twer yeg will elske doati lanv, meet they desunt heimen, to cannons roar and rifles peal, vil shanties to Loegis sang. For there were no more Turhines, and for laxam brags was past the copper to our laddies, and it was dim upon the floods only, and there was day on all the ground. Thus street spins legends, while wharfs woves tales, but some family feud felt a nick in their name. Old vicars sate down on their heirs, and straightened the points of their lace. Red Rowleys popped out of their lairs and asked what was wrong with the race. Mick Namura used dripping in layers to shave all the furs off his face. The Berkeleys and Coyle Finns paid full fanes for their sins when the Cap and Miss Cooley roller raped. With her bandbacks hoist from holder, ziggers for zag, through pool and poolder, cheap, and laughing Jack, all August, scorenning, see the bolt, your picture's motion, and Kitsy Klein's where's mine, eloping for that home in Filn's Hotel Fjord, Nova Norrening, where they pulled down the cuddle and they made the fray, and if they don't look honey well, that Duke and I. He got a birth, and he got a manage, and wols gos mundom ganna wets. Knock, knock. Was where? Which war? The twins. Knock, knock. Woos without. Without what? An apple. Knock, knock. The Kildamast won then and unhindered. Harefoot birdie hands herring a bone, bees knees and a barney dankst, a Catherine round to know the who, and to show the howsome. Why was you hiding, moder of moders? And where was Hunty, pop of the gun, pointing up to skyless heaven like the spoon out of Sergeant Major's tay? Which was the worst of them famous culprits? He's heard of hoarding, and her faith is altered, becoming ungoing their seeming sames, for though the limestone deaf do his part, there's a whin tree top whipples the damp off the mooring. But tell us that all as if, well as its end. And the longer it takes, the swooner they tumble to. He knows he's been thrilling, and she's sure she'd scream. The three-legged man and the tulipy dewdress. Lud Hilmy they were brimming to hear the durst he did, and the first she ever. Paganine Bush, this isn't the polka. Catch as you can way Highland fling. And you, Tim Tommy Maloney, I'll tittle your bearings if you stick that ping-ping into me. So in the names of the Balder, and of the Sol, and of the Holy Ghost, Ogso viavit, 'twas done. And by way of letting the hand out of her groper, and leading the monks home by their gribes, whoops about a plebiscite of plebiscites, alamon, poison curls on this mountain of delude, and in the high place of delude of Israel, where is Hararim, and the Dublin's old mountain over against Vikings, from your tarns, thwaites, and thorpes, wires and tufts and fosses, fells, howes, and shores, lunds, gards, and dales, mensering the magnanimous as so will, is the little yest. The miry o'hates with toroidal coil, era, round wanta jockey, fin above wave, after ducky downy divvy, trader armour slung beauty belt, the form of Velican and Nana Karlikivna, Summer Lad and Cinderenda, Voltifair and Viv, how Big Bill Bryn, Boromota, first took his gauge off at Lil Lolly Love Under. Water. Since when capiol legs covered limbs of a crane, and was it in the twilight of the month of the year of the faint, of her smell made the seaman's assault of her in image seen all whim. To the ratification of this generation and no-humorization of our Christian nation station. As the last layer in the earth bewailed the first lady of the forest, though toots pardusel sauve l'amour, for the joy of the dew on the flower of the fleets, on the fields of the foam, of the waves of the sea, of the wild main from Borna home, has just come to crown Snip, snap, snoody, no history and goody of a little trip-trap and a big tree's goner, for he put off the kettle and they made 3 for 5. And if he heck don't love Alpy, then lad you annoy me, for Hannigan with Hunnigan still haunt a hunt to find their Hinnigan. Where paparas, and you are Ragil, Aknatul, Agmont, and Mac, whack. Fall the devil, none the double, and daddy doddle. And an unruly person creaked a jest opposed to parry off chicars, or frankfurters on the oder, fine again, cool wholesome peace a wily. Such was the act of Goth, stepping the toke of Doolin, drain and plantage, wattle and daub. With you'll peel as I'll pale, and we'll pull the both to ground to gutter, testes touchwood, and shenstone unto pop and poma, calf and conda under all the goes pipes incorporated. The chal and his chi, their roaming over, grib, grob, grab, raining trippity trappity. So far shalt thou flow, else thy caven hair, to whom she and it like and pleased thee, till seal lump became dump to bump slump. A liffle bed, alta lower, alabash, or gree, kemper temper to jetty to waft, all the weight, all the mons on his little Rabanook. Him that ground old man to be that hard of hearing, aforesaid, and her the petty tondur, with the fixed and a changeable eye, which see, Lord me lad, he goes with blowbeard, Lady Blashius stream, but before that his lordship was converted to a land shop. There was a little Theogamic incident, that hoppico jumpy, January morn when he colluded with the cad out on the beg, and much the funeral regal games of those outmassed Fenians, for whom he forecaused a bridge of the piers at Invalefi, mating pontine of their engagement, sin buildizing graters and things against, oh, nearly not all. Here's the first cataraction, as is ever she cared, and as you and damn, about her harpoons sticking all out of him wet between Phoenix's calipers, and that sword in him sheath. Strads ye, gospodine, Kenny's thought ye, dinny oozle, while the sit was leaking asphalt like a suburbiorialis in his robe was tucking to him like old booze. Interruption, Czechoslovak diversion. Why wonder of when Chalows, what o sesame open, we doers to doing, we doers being, and how then thinga Jerry means, but this being becoming, NZ doer. K and O, it is nay not for him. What foots like a glove, shoe, hand shiner, padomkin, softly Annie slavey, shoost she in slow Janeska. The aged crafty mummified confusionary, overinsured, overlapsing, accentuated, Kate Cattersin, clopped, Darcy Dobry backing along the dancing corridor as she was going to pimp him, way boy Wally not without her complement of carronade men between the two death-dealing allied divisions and the lines of ready present fire of the Corrigan's upstored, taken in, given the salute. Band your hands going in, bind your heads coming out, and remulcted to help self in a serf's alown, a weir povey, willowy, dereavy, drawly, and the patter of so familiars, far abroads and bohemians, as she sure knows, boof for booby boo, new uses in their musy fume, the Jamisons is a cook in his hair, and the Junices is a raping his hind, and the bulling dong caught the wind-up dip. And the message she brought below from the missus she bragged above, that had her agony stays outside her sorry chemise, blanking her shifts for to keep up the fascion. And it's the king of all drollings, kissed her beswixt hand, fang, pierce me honky, I'm full of moinders. Her fire's like a tub-tail of mundane clothes, fed to the chaps with working medicals, and her birthright pang, that would split an atom like the 40 pins in her hood, was to fade a huncher, her howdy-dowdy, to mountainy mots in her amnest plain language, from his fainer one, his Hottentot lass, to pierce his rope-looped ear how. Padushka be praised, now the sounds of his loins were a-winking and waking, and his daughter, of the hush, lullabilly lullaby, lead us not into reformication with the poors in your kingdom of gory obode. Once the males, nonce at a time, with them Murphy's puffs, she dursted with nutmegs, and the bramberry cake for dour doughty dumplings obey a matum beatum, and eps at the fot, and if he was wishful to licture her caudle with chesty judge from her Nauberg den, and novany news from Noel of Toplots, talks from Morian Basts, or our parrot's straight cure for encivilized lethargies, spicks my spoon, and the veriblest spoon. 'Twas her hour for the chamber, and Sally compodium, with love to Melost, Panny Costello, from XYZ, for to folly Billy Bobbus, Gibbets Pawsy Punsy, and she was wanton, for dem Marera to take her genial glow to bed. This is the time for my trouble, reflected Mr. Gladstone Brown in the toll hut. It was characteristic from that man of Delagny, Dip. This is me vulcanite smoking, profused Mr. Bonaparte Nolan. Under the Nate Kip, one feels how one may hereby recognize the ground old. May hon Nagian Dip. And this is defender of defeater, of defaulter or deformer, of the funst man in Danelai, willing toned, in with this glance down is brown, and that born appalled noodlum the panelite, pairs Cummel the eliminator, odding Oliver White, He's as stiff as she's tight, and listens he speaks quite hoarse. Dip. In reverence to her majesty, the lady of the camellias, as much to our own, one's gough stature, prosum prosit, to the kirk and a nick. Oh, rum it is, the chromicless thing, how it pickles up the punctury and the Jude. If you'll give me your thing to me, I will gae me a thing to thee. Stay where you're dummy, to get her to go there. He banged the scoop and he bagged the sugar, while the whole pobble done a stare on a mist-tint wall, with its chromo for all, crems, showing old Manag's asses, set by Almanac's men, cannons to ride with them, cannons that leapt at them, woollied and flundered. So the Katies came, and the Katies came, and so gangs Sludge-Nose, and that hench-wench, what hopped, it donneth there, dufter. Dios.